You triggered a memory of mine from the 2016 convention. We were at the Democratic National Convention, and two events are still sort of burned into my mind. And I happened to be standing outside in whatever called the hallways in those big arenas.
Right.
Right after Bernie gave his concession speech, and he came storming out, and all of his delegates came storming out, and they went across to another building and essentially staged a sit-in.
Yeah.
And Bernie didn't.
Duct taping their mouths and stuff. Yeah.
And we ended up talking to a lot of them, and they were not Democrat Party regulars. They were newbies, and they at that point they knew how much Bernie had been screwed by the Democratic machine, and they thought the whole thing was rigged. And they were basically doing the progressive version of draining the swamp and taking this thing over. The Democrats arguably, in the short run, sort of managed that problem, but I think they also created the problem that they're facing today, because the activists that animate the party don't trust the machine.
Right. Actually, what all of that reminded me of is what I also saw you. I guess we've known each other for a while, because the 2012 Republican National Convention, which was fascinating because it's the first convention that happens in the era of the Tea Party. And this is back when the Tea Party was a more coherent and positive thing than the way I could at least consider it now. It's sort of moribund.
Well, it's dead now.
I wanted to be nice. Yeah. So there were Tea Party activists.
Moment of silence. Tea Party's dead. Yeah.
But no, but the energy in that building, as you recall, came from, and I remember very directly, Ted Cruz gives a speech on the floor. And Ted Cruz says, there's an interesting movement happening in this country. It happened in Utah. It happened in Kentucky. And he starts naming the states in which Tea Party-backed insurgents beat establishment candidates. Crowd loves it, and the establishment's like, eh. Yeah. And meanwhile, behind the scenes, as you witnessed, and we talked about it a lot at the time, every Tea Party activist and every Ron Paul activist, and they weren't the same people necessarily, and then also a lot of social conservative too, who were activists, we're getting absolutely steamrolled. I mean, they were changing the rules last minute. They got
all different, but outsiders.
The different outsiders, and they staged a big protest there, and there was duct tape on those mouths too. Like very, very similar. And you can stage manage all you want as an establishment, but you do that, it's like admitting your own fear of your own base. And that's not ultimately tenable, I think, in American politics, for good and for ill, mostly for good, I think. Like you can't just force people to sit and take it. And it creates all of this energy that can pour out. Question is, what does that energy look like? Does it translate into good policy and those things? And that's where we're at right now. It's a big open question. And with Bernie Sanders, a lot of it, I think, can go into a negative place for sure. Just as I think some of it, a lot of it's gone a negative place with Donald Trump as well. But the mechanism for an establishment saying, no, take it, eat it, is kind of over.